All right, let's get right into it. Today we're talking about something called the T20 system, and the headline here is pretty wild. It's all about putting AI teams on autopilot. Seriously, we're talking about teams of AI that can manage and run entire projects by themselves. This is a really cool peek into what's next for autonomous AI. But before we get into the tech, let's start with something we can all relate to. Picture this. You've got a massive project staring you down. I mean, something huge, like writing a whole book or building a complex website from the ground up. The first question is always, where on earth do you start? Well, the answer seems obvious, right? You make a plan. That's what we all do. You take that giant, scary task, and you start breaking it down into smaller, bite-sized pieces that you can actually handle.
But what if that plan was more than just a list of tasks? What if it was ridiculously detailed? So specific that it almost felt like it was thinking for itself. Well, that's exactly where this story really gets interesting.
So let's look at a concrete example. We're talking about a plan to write a full-on technical book. Now, that's already a huge undertaking, right? But the truly bizarre part isn't the project itself. It's the mysterious team that was put together to get it done.
Okay, check this out. Here's a single task from that project plan. It seems normal enough, right? Write the introductory chapter. Simple. But then you look at who it's assigned to, GPT-SCE. What is that? Is that a person's username? A secret code name? What's going on here? And it's not just a one-off. As you dig into this plan, you see more of them. Over a dozen very specific tasks are handed off to team members with these strange names, like Lyra and Quen3 WebDev. And this is a proper project plan, with tasks for outlining, writing, editing, even web dev, all assigned to this crew.
So that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Just who are Lyra and GPT-ASE? What kind of super specialized team uses handles like these?
All right, it's time to meet the team. And let me just give you a little spoiler here. They're not who you think they are.
Yeah, that's because they aren't human experts. They're not people at all. GPT-ASE, Lyra, all of them, they are a fully autonomous team of specialized AI agents. And this is all powered by the T20 Multi-Agent System. You could think of it as a sophisticated framework that's built to do one thing really well: let different specialized AIs actually collaborate. So you give the system a single high-level goal, and it figures out how to coordinate its own team of AI agents to plan, work together, and get the whole thing done.
And this isn't just theory. Here's a look at the actual team roster that comes pre-configured. You've got Meta AI, the orchestrator, who is basically the project manager. Then there's Lyra, the prompt engineer, whose job is to translate human goals into perfect instructions for the other AIs. You've even got a designer named Aurora and an engineer called Codex. Every single one has a clear role in a specific goal, exactly like a high-performing human team.
So what's running under the hood? Well, each of these agents is powered by a model from the Google Gemini family, and the system is actually really smart about how it does this. It doesn't just use one giant model for everything. It uses a powerhouse like Gemini 2.5 Pro for the really heavy lifting, the planning and orchestration, and then it uses faster, more nimble models for the more specific individual tasks. It's all about using the right tool for the job.
Okay, so we know what it is, but how does it all actually work? I mean, how do you go from one simple goal to a finished product created by a team of AIs? Well, it all starts with the orchestrator's blueprint. Remember that project manager agent we mentioned? Meta AI, the orchestrator? That one is the absolute key. It's the brain of the whole operation. Its job is to create the master plan and then manage the entire workflow from the very beginning to the very end.
So, how does one AI manage an entire team of other AIs? It follows this 6-step workflow. First, it gets the goal. Then, it creates a detailed plan on the fly. After that, it delegates each task to the best AI for the job and helps them collaborate. And the whole time, it's learning from the process and logging every single step so you can see exactly what happened.
And this is the moment where it all clicks into place. Remember that super detailed, almost too perfect plan to write a book from the very beginning? The one that kicked this whole thing off? Yeah, a human didn't write that. It was generated, dynamically, by Meta AI, the orchestrator, in step 2 of its workflow. The AI didn't just follow a plan, it created its own project plan.
Okay, that's the high-level concept. Now let's get our hands dirty and look inside the actual T20 toolkit. How does a person, a user, actually command this AI team?
What's cool here is that the system is designed to be incredibly powerful, but also surprisingly simple to use. You define your agents in basic YAML files, just simple text, and the whole thing is driven from the command line. That means you don't need some fancy, complicated user interface to get this whole AI team up and running.
And here's a perfect example of what that looks like. A user just opens up their terminal and types T20 CLI, followed by their goal, just written out in plain English. Right here, they're asking the AI team to design and create the HTML and CSS for a modern, minimalist landing page. And that's it. That one sentence kicks the entire multi-agent machine into gear.
The moment you hit enter, the system spins up a new session folder, and inside that folder, it logs everything, meticulously. The plan the orchestrator came up with, every single prompt that went to every agent, and every single result they produced. This gives you total transparency. You can go back and see exactly how the AI team thought through the problem.
So when you step back and look at all this, it obviously leads to some pretty big questions about the future of work, and even the idea of teamwork itself. Why does a system like this actually matter in the grand scheme of things? Well, because systems like T20 are way more than just simple automation. This isn't just a faster way to do an old task. This represents a whole new model for problem solving. It's about tackling really complex, creative, and technical challenges by building specialized, autonomous teams of AIs that can think, plan, and work together. And that's really the crucial point to take away from all of this. We're moving beyond asking a single AI to do a single thing. Now we can give a team of AIs a high-level objective, and they figure out the rest. They create the plan, they delegate the work, and they execute the entire project, from start to finish, all on their own. Which really just leaves one final question for you to think about. If you had a tireless, autonomous team of AI specialists at your command, a team that could plan and execute almost anything you could dream up, what's that one impossible project you would finally set them loose on?